Welcome to Extemporadio here on riverwestradio.com. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Sorry I didn't make any Facebook announcements about the show tonight, everybody, but I was driving frantically across the state of Wisconsin, and yeah, whatever. Things got busy, things got tied up, but this is Extemporadio. My name's Brendan O'Day. I'm the producer of the show. The things you'll hear over the next hour represent the views of Extemporadio and the people making them. All opinions and quotations in no way represent River West Radio and are the sole responsibility of the producer, guests, and callers. River West Radio is not liable for any legal issues arising from the content of this program. And with that, I yelled fire in a theater this weekend. Woo! Genius. So, welcome to Extemporadio. It's another special night here in Milwaukee. It's December 3rd. Simultaneously, it feels like April 7th. It's easily 65 degrees outside. I think it's even warmer than that, even though officially at the airport it's 63. And between intermittent cloudbursts that is threatening to have me pull out the lawnmower again by next Wednesday, because it doesn't even look like it's going to get below freezing for the next week and a half. There's a darn good chance we're going to have an inch and a half of lawn growth. And my life and concern over lawn weeds is going to come back in the middle of December. Wow. I don't really care about weeds in the lawn. It's not good. I'm just really actually overreacting to something that doesn't matter. No. So with me is Jason Evans. How's it going, Jason Evans?
How's it going?
Good to see you, man.
Hydroplaned my butt over here.
Awesome. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
What'd you do with the rest of your car?
Hey-o.
And also joining us all the way from Boise, Idaho, Neenah, Wisconsin, and most recently Kewanee, Wisconsin. Our good friend Nate Ford is here tonight.
Why, hello, everybody.
Nate Ford's in the house.
Thanks for having me.
In his house.
Yeah.
What?
So we had a whirlwind tour of Wisconsin and Minnesota the last 72 hours.
Minnesota.
And actually we met, I think, a pretty true Northwestern Minnesotan at a hotel in Black River Falls, Wisconsin. We met this dude, Gabe, which I didn't make that up. His name's Gabe. And Gabe is the lead server at a restaurant that we're trying to hook up a comedy show at. But, so we stopped in on this, was it the Orange Moose?
The Orange Moose and, yes.
It's the Orange Moose Bar and Grill.
It's
inside the Best Western at Black River Falls, right at the freeway, right at 94 and 54. And we walked in and we talked to Gabe because they previously had a comedy show there back in the day. That was
he Amish?
No. He's just up from Minnesota, and he's we had a show and it was pretty good.
He doesn't own a wood chipper, does he?
I hope not.
Oh, thank God.
He just he was there to tell us about the show, and boy, I tell you, the first one we had, it was pretty good. It's over 120. I might even say 130 people. I might say that.
Gosh.
He was pretty damn good.
Gosh.
So we were at Molly's Rude Awakening, a fabulous little former coffee shop only, then became a bar that has expanded into this beautiful facility in Black River Falls.
It's amazing. Like, I performed there a long time ago, maybe 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago. And it was just a garage. It was just an empty garage.
Wow.
People brought their own lawn chairs and whatever chair they could find to come in and watch a show. No sound system. And me and the Saints of Sinners comedy tour just performed a great show in front of maybe 35 people in an empty garage. Wow. And then the following time they kind of added more stuff to it, put the coffee shop inside the garage. And then now there's stage, there's lighting, there's retail store, there's a bar, coffee shop,
art display space. They have artists who put their work up there. It becomes a gallery space. Probably the coolest thing I saw in the place, unfortunately it wasn't for sale, was they've got these steps that go up to an office right out of the main open room, and there's a floor mat there, and it was just one of the coolest things I've ever seen. It was this kind of rattan woven mat, and it was like a doormat for a house, and it said, "Beat it, hippie."
Yeah.
It's great.
That's
Like,
great.
Need that for River West here. It was so fabulous. So that was Molly's Rude Awakening. That was on Friday night, and that was a great show. Not a big crowd, but very enthusiastic crowd, and a lot of fun to practice some crowd work on. The next night was a very intriguing night up at Benton Station in Sauk Rapids, Minnesota.
Cool.
Sauk Rapids.
It's a brief 4.5 hour drive from Black River Falls. So you've already gone 4.5 to Black River Falls, then you have another 4.5 out to
Holy
Sauk
cow.
Rapids. Yeah, that's Kewaunee to Black River Falls. So it's kind of, you're starting up by Green Bay and then dropping down.
Oh, okay.
So from Milwaukee, Black River Falls is about 2.5 to 3 hours. So you're still a good solid 7.5 to get to Sauk Rapids. But it was just a case of they were telling us to expect between about 30 and 40 people. In the last show, they'd had about 32 people, 35 people, and they opened the doors. People come in, and it's packing up really fast. And the MC, who's hosted it since April, told us that they usually don't come in until right before 8:30. So at 5 after 8, we've got about 40 people plus in the room already. And it's not a huge room. It probably seats about 75, 80.
Oh, yeah.
And by the time we get to showtime, it was up over 65 people.
Nice.
And they were just a great crowd, just an excited, laughing crowd. The host guy, Aaron
Imholt. He's
Aaron Imholt.
He's a radio DJ, and usually sometimes when you have a comedy show and a radio DJ, you're not sure what to expect from that.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, you never know.
He might tell some jokes because he thinks he's funnier than the comic.
Yeah.
Type of situation. And this guy, I tell you what, it was very topical, but it was to date topical. Like,
Cool.
Right that very moment, topical.
material.
Yeah, all new material.
Wow.
And rocked the house.
That's
And
great.
It just set up nicely for the show and brought up Brendan O'Day, and he killed it,
Awesome.
which is, hard to believe, but it I'm totally kidding.
I seriously didn't know where he was. I thought he was going to, man, is he actually going to give me a compliment and say, which is becoming kind of a normal thing. He's really been knocking it out of the park lately. No, absolutely not. Time to go right back to that
Yeah,
old
the mic
saw.
was, yeah.
No,
Yeah, which is really rare and hardly ever happens. That is perfect.
which I'm totally kidding. I mean, Brendan O'Day.
Which is great though, because the night before in Black River Falls, I actually got post-show advice from a guy.
Crowd member?
I got post-show advice from a crowd, from an audience member.
Wow, what was this?
Well, to be fair, I did an amazing job with crowd work.
Yeah.
To be fair, I picked on about 4 people who threw themselves into the show by doing their thing, and really got some good laughs out of the crowd work. Partly because it's only 16 people who really know each other.
Well, okay.
So if you even get close to hitting on something that really kind of applies to that person, that crowd is going to love it. And there's one very flamboyant guy that works in the coffee shop, and he kind of gave me an entree to kind of go after him a little bit, and they all just loved it because it's hard to kind of take him down a peg. He's pretty smart, he's pretty quick-witted, and he's not the easiest target to really go after, but I got the microphone, so now's my chance to really kind of cut on him, and it worked out great. So this big dude comes up after the show, and he's just like, you ought to really focus on that where you work with the audience. That was really good. That prepared stuff, that scripted stuff that you were doing, that wasn't working for you at all.
Just crowd rap. Just do crowd rap.
Nice.
You ought to just focus on the crowd work. I think you'd go a lot. There aren't a lot of comedians that do that. You'd probably do really well if all you did was work on the crowd.
Wow.
You know Don Rickles?
Yeah, the bar's been set kind of high.
What was your response?
I don't know. Well, first of all, I made the huge mistake, and I hate doing this, but I did. I made the mistake of not disagreeing with him, thanking him first, and then saying, well, you got to realize that most of the time the stuff I've written actually works pretty well. That's the reason I do it, is because it works pretty well. And that was my mistake. We actually had a discussion in the car about it later on during the weekend, and I just said, you know what you have to do is just thank them profusely. Really? Oh, God, I was waiting for somebody to really give me some insight. Thank you so much.
And then back out of there because a joke's coming on the way.
No, I just let
I got
it
a
go.
joke for you.
Yeah, right, yeah. Oh, and by the way, I got a good one for you, right?
You can use this.
Yeah, no extra charge.
If you disagree with them, they're gonna prove their point
Yeah.
even more.
They got to defend their position now, and that's what started happening. I went, yeah, that's really great, but obviously the stuff works. He's like, no, you got to understand. Just by the way you are, you obviously are like a really outgoing person, really engaging. And I'm like, dude, I'm dressed all in black. Nobody even walks up to me. I'm the guy nobody talks to.
How many times was he on stage?
Well, actually, he said he was a performer. He said, I'm a performer too. And then when we went to Denny's after the show, and we got somebody from the audience ran into us at the Denny's.
Yeah.
They showed up, hey, and all that. And yeah, he said he's a performer too. And they were like,
What does he perform?
what?
Sword swallowing.
And Greg said, I've known him for like 7 years. I don't think he does anything.
Oh.
So he's even talking up his own shtick, which I think is awesome. So
Yeah.
that's fabulous. That's
It's always good to get a lot of help from the
But
audience.
I would like to
Yeah.
retract what I said earlier. It was just a joke about Bruno Day.
Oh, shut up. No, we all know it's a joke. Everybody knows I'm amazing. And
No, he has come a long
Yeah,
ways.
he's amazing.
I mean, if you would have saw him like maybe 3 years ago, you're like, yeah, okay, he might have a career. But now he's just.
years
You know,
you're
let me
just-
take that shovel from you, Nate.
You're just.
yeah, let me get. Can I get in on this?
Why don't you stop digging there and
how do I
I'll
get
take
in?
over.
What I'm trying to say is he is super awesome and he's gonna go places.
Oh, shut up. No, it's kind of funny that's kind of it's not the feeling. It's just you do this long enough, you do it enough times, you get up enough times, you gain a certain understanding and a certain familiarity with things and whatever. Anyway, so just shut up.
I'm just saying you're brilliant.
Yeah, thanks. This is going,
You are, actually.
This is going in a great direction now. This is great. Thank you. So then, so that was Saturday night. Saturday night was in Sauk Rapids, Minnesota. That was awesome. Great hotel. Stayed at the Country Inn and Suites up there. Beautiful place.
Fantastic headline.
Ran into. I'm gonna break that right here on. Extemporadio. Milwaukee's own comedian Red was at the show in Sauk Rapids, Minnesota,
Wow.
with her new fiance Rob Holloway.
Wow.
So Red is going to get married to Rob Holloway, indeterminate time, but Red was there watching the show. My favorite moment of the show is when the headlining comedian's fiance laughs hardest at the feature act's jokes. No, Nate Ford has a joke where he ends a rant with, or gets towards the end of a rant with, where he talks about crapping his pants and tags that with, that's a callback to a joke that I didn't even do. That's how brilliant I am. And she just exploded with laughter on
Wow.
that, to the point of where the headliner kind of put his hand on her shoulder. They were sitting shoulder to shoulder. He was like behind her.
Yeah.
And he put his hand on her shoulder and kind of turned her around a little bit and looked at her like, what? Because that's kind of a joke for comedians by a comedian,
Yeah.
and it's just kind of a cool thing. So I just thought that was extraordinarily precious to have him go, hey, how come you're not laughing at me like that? It was very special.
Because I've seen your set 8,000 times.
Exactly right. That was exactly why. But we did get to see comedian Red and talk to her and get some insight on some of the shows she was doing. She had a great time doing shows here in Milwaukee in the week prior to, and then we got to hang out with them that night. That was cool at the show. And then the bar was awesome. The people were great. That's a great room. If you get a chance to work that,
Set
comics, I
up
strongly
nicely.
suggest it. The stage is amazing. The sound is amazing. They have their own dedicated sound guy that sets up a beautiful room. I still think we should have gone brighter on the light. I don't like the dim light, but he's a music guy, so they're kind of all about the dim light.
Yeah.
Other than that, and one of our friends had sent us a message saying, hey, if you're doing that place, tell them to crank the light all the way up.
Yep.
And then we got kind of blocked on that and said, no, maybe take it down a little bit. And they took it down too much, and whatever, we got over it. But then came Sunday. We drove all the way from Sauk Rapids, Minnesota to Green Bay, Wisconsin to do a show at JD's Bar.
On Broadway.
On Broadway in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
With James Thorne.
James Thorne was our host. James
Awesome.
Thorne did a great job getting that room all excited and wound up. All 6 of them were just jacked up to be there for that show. And James Thorne did an amazingly great job with what he had to work with of a bunch of drunk people who were not paying attention at all the entire
Well, at
time.
least they were happy after the win, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, but I would have rather had them depressed and not talking and being so drunk. But the best part was their typical response to a joke and to the punchline of a joke was to comment on it.
Or ask a question.
Nice.
Or ask a question. Nate hits one of his genuine, real, just constant, regular count on it. That joke's in the bank type jokes, and he was met with this. So, how long were you? What was it?
What? Tell us about Boise.
Oh yeah, so you're from Boise?
Wow.
Not with, hey, by the way, could you tell us about Boise? No, just straight out. So you're from Boise? It's like, he just kind of stops, like, your brain didn't. The thing is, that thought doesn't form in response to hearing anything. That thought forms way earlier.
Yeah.
That had to come from somewhere else.
Yeah.
So she wasn't even listening to the joke. She was just locked in on the fact that 7 minutes earlier, you had been introduced from Boise, Idaho.
She was
She's
still
just
stuck on the-
catching
It
up
took
there.
7 solid
Just
minutes
catching up.
for her to catch up to the introduction.
Hey!
It was too precious. They were great people. We had a great time. The best part
Great.
was, after my set, find out she's the mother of the owner.
Oh, wow.
That's always great when the mom of the owner wants to participate in the show.
The parents of the owner of the bar were pretty much the only audience members that were actually paying attention.
They were really with us, yeah.
and the only ones that were heckling too.
They're staying right on
So
us.
the 100% 2 audience members.
Yeah.
were also
If
were
you've never
heckling.
had an audience that heckles you at a rate of 100%, you haven't lived. The best part was the people that would just randomly tune out. Like, they'd be looking at you during a joke, and for no reason, at no determined point, no meaningful point,
Yeah.
they would just turn away from you and face the bar.
Oh, I've had that. Yeah, I've had that.
It's like, I would understand if I said something that might have offended,
Yeah.
or said something that wasn't was confusing, but it was just like and spin and turn, and there they go, and they're gone.
I guess you could hear it from outside too, because a guy came just from passing by on the sidewalk, opened the door, and goes, "Are you guys ready to have a good time?"
Right during my set, it was completely fabulous.
He was heckled by a guy not even at the show,
Yeah.
just passing by.
Just walking by
Nice.
on the street, kind of like Steve Breeze walking by our booth as you're telling that story and waving to us and distracting the show. It's perfect. Couldn't have been better time. Thank you, Steve Breeze, cast of killers, and
Was he
director.
dancing?
And,
Was he dancing?
no.
Was
No, he did not
doing
Gangnam
Gangnam
style.
Style?
He did not Gangnam style the sidewalk. I'm very surprised. That's a typical Steve Breeze thing to do. So that was this weekend. What happened on your weekend?
Nothing. I worked. That's how exciting my life is.
You didn't get to go to do a VFW in Germantown this weekend at 6:25?
That was last Sunday.
Yeah.
Last Sunday. That was at a Moose Lodge.
That was the
in
Moose Lodge. Oh,
Germantown.
dang it.
Right before a Packer game.
So
and
perfect.
They were eating and
shoving their
these,
faces, trying to consume enough carbs to absorb beer during the Packer
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
Really a great attentive audience.
Yeah.
How many
That's-
people did you cause? How many choking victims did you guys have during
Not
the show?
too many. Not too. Yeah,
too
they were
many.
kind of surprised. They just looked at me plainly with their spaghetti as I told my noodle sex joke, and just blank stares.
Kept the Germantown volunteer
Yeah.
search and rescue busy for most of the show. That's
They
great.
were all right. I mean, they were. It was.
That was
a
before the
crowd.
game or after the game?
Before the game. Right before the game.
loss.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
right before
That'll
the
be
big
great
loss.
right
Yeah.
after.
So, but it was all right. I mean, some crowds you ain't get connect with, some you are. So.
You are correct in that regard. That's
And but it was all right. It was good going out there.
That's awesome. So you got what's coming up for you?
I got stuff around Christmas. What is
All
it?
right.
The weekend before Christmas, I got 2 gigs. So we'll see how those go.
Where they
I think
at?
they're
Where you at?
corporate. I'm not sure. He doesn't
What's corporate stuff?
tell me. One's a corporate, one's a party.
Okay.
One's booked through a booker, one's a league gig.
Oh, nice.
So he's bringing me on to a booker, booking.
Sure.
So
We
I think they're local. They're both local gigs. I'm not sure exactly where it'll.
probably the best thing that came out of this whole long weekend drive was we did make some contacts with some other places, the Orange
Great.
Moose and in CBR or BRC, whatever, BRF. There it is, Black River Falls, and then some stuff in Green Bay, and that's a cool thing that you take
Yeah.
that opportunity to just stop and make contact, and you
For
never
sure.
know where it's going to go. Any truck stop you stop at, any local gas station you stop at, any place that has any little restaurant, if they've got one of those bulletin boards, stick your card up there. You never know who's going to call off of that. It's just a great way to catch some random gigs.
Last night, for some reason, I just get a random message from Facebook message from, I think his name is Tom Pinsky from Wits End Bar.
Oh,
One of the owners over there, and he just
Crazy.
writes me and says, "Hey, we got this going on at the bar. When are you guys coming back out?" He goes, "We're just starting lingerie night on Thursdays."
awesome.
So I wrote him back, and I'm like, "Well, man, I'm always down to come out there, especially on lingerie night."
Gonna have to be a lingerie night.
And I told him he'd have to talk to Jeff about booking
Yeah,
that
right.
gig, so.
Awesome.
So yeah, I told Jeff, and they're gonna work on it. So, but
Oh,
that
that's
was
cool.
pretty cool that he just called up. You know, it's just
That's
you know,
great,
you
man.
get a gig that hits like that, and it's just
Exactly.
it never stops. You know, it's just
Yep. You get
really
a group
cool.
that appreciates what you do,
Yeah.
and I think we gave them a show that they just weren't expecting.
No, not at all.
That they got blown away by that, and I think it really had. By the time it was done, it had a real comedy club kind of feel, where they really got an amazing show for a very, 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 very. I don't know if I can stress this enough. Very reasonable price.
Yeah, and they knew that too.
Yeah, so
'cause-
hopefully they're going to show some appreciation on the backside on a future gig.
Yeah.
That was with you and
That was Carlos Valencia that came out with me, Jeff, and Jason.
I love that guy. He's a good
And
guy.
oh
he's
yeah,
awesome.
it was awesome, and put on a great show. And I really think the three of us could go back there with another headliner and just
For sure,
blow
yeah.
out another great show there, and certainly badge it with the show again because it's just great. I mean, it's just something that was just that one. Couldn't have been a better circumstance. Now, obviously, you can't really predict a 60-degree night in December.
Yeah.
I don't
and
think
that
we
bar's
can really.
very small.
Well, yeah, I don't think we can go back there until springtime, like
Yeah,
March
yeah.
sometime, because they've got an outdoor pavilion where we performed, and I think you need that kind of a circumstance. So anyway,
But we definitely got to check out that lingerie Thursday thing. For sure.
yeah,
good excuse
let's
to
check
drive
out
out there.
lingerie night. That would be awesome.
They weren't too bad out there. Those guys are great. They got great attitude. Great biker bar
They
attitude.
do. So, so what do you have coming up, Mr. Ford?
Well, on the way back to here to Milwaukee area, I got a call from Comedy Pro, Jeremy Muller, saying, "Hey, I had a feature act Fallout next week who said I have a replacement, and that replacement fell out."
A fallout is when a comedian cancels out of a gig, in case you're not aware of that. And so you had a fallout, replaced him, and then the fallout fell out.
Yeah.
So,
And so I was wondering if you can do the week next weekend.
so it just tells you how high up the food chain Nate Ford has arisen. That
Well, I
he's the
mean-
third position fallout. That's. I mean, you practically
that's-
need like a medical emergency to work in your favor to get that. No, I'm kidding.
Exactly.
I'm kidding. Nate Ford just had a circumstance where he was a fill-in on a Fallout, but he was booked for another show. He kind of moved down the list in that spot because they kind of gave you your shot. So
Yeah.
I don't mean it to be disparaging in any way whatsoever.
So where's it at, Nate?
Well, the first gig is in Grand Forks, North Dakota,
Right.
605 miles away,
605.
All right.
Door to door.
at a Ramada Inn, at their bar in the Ramada Inn. I don't remember the name of the bar offhand.
Yeah.
And then Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at one of my new favorite clubs, Courtney's Comedy Club in Moorhead, Minnesota.
Oh, wow.
They just know how to treat comics well. It's so much fun. The manager, Michael Gustafus, is just a crazy character that you just want to know in your life. And so I'll be working with Andrew Oliette and Brendan O'Day. And,
There you go.
Andrew came through here not too long ago with a couple other
The
comics that
50
did the
states in 50
yeah.
days tour.
Yeah, I heard
Yeah,
about
he
that.
just came through, did a show out in Waukesha. I believe their last two were Alaska and then Hawaii.
Oh, yeah.
So that may have just wrapped up or is just wrapping up because they were getting to Alaska last week. So that may have just wrapped for them. But that was an amazing undertaking to
Yeah,
get all
Stanhope
50
just
states.
commented on it, saying that they just came to their end
Oh, crazy.
a couple days ago or something like that.
Yeah, that would make sense. But that's kind of an amazing thing, and I was a little surprised though that that you would head out on a tour like that without prior bookings for all 50 states.
Yeah.
When I heard that they were coming to Wisconsin, I heard from Isaac Whitty that he had posted that they were looking for a venue.
Isaac Orr.
Or I think I heard it from Isaac Whitty.
Isaac Whitty.
Isaac Orr, Jeff Lampton, like anybody that knew Christine Levine
Okay.
was posting, like she must have broadcast to a bunch of people at once. And so anybody that knew her was just hitting everybody with, find us a space. And so they ended up with a place out in Waukesha. And as I understand it,
Yeah, you think, plan ahead. 50 states, 50 days. Like you think you would have it already planned out.
Yeah,
instead of throwing like dart at the map.
Yeah, even if you were at like day 10, you might still be planning day 40 through 50 because you're on the road. You got time in your morning getting ready to get back out on the road. I'm sure they've got this down to where it's pretty well-oiled machine and just hit the gig and then move on. And depending on how you route it, you can be pretty conservative with your time. You can jump in 4 or 5 hour increments. So you've got a solid 3 or 4 hours a day to be on the computer and phone booking stuff. But the stuff in Wisconsin, I think that gig got booked like
the day before,
like
or
the day before,
of.
2 days before. It's like, we're coming tomorrow. We need a place. So that was pretty rough. But the first announcement of it was like 5 or 6 days before, and I'm like, holy cow, that's going to be rough to find. So Jeff had offered up Blue Pig in Cudahy, and ultimately it wound up at Waukesha. So hope.
But then again, it doesn't say that we're going to be making money off this tour. We're just doing 50 states.
Well, right.
50 days.
There's a lot of them that go that way, that you're just trying to do something remarkable, something notable. When I did the 30 Cities in 30 Hours tour, that was not designed to do anything. It was get on the motorcycle, drive into a town, tell some jokes, film it for a few seconds, and drive on to the next town. Because then you can say, of the 30 Cities, 30 Hours tour, you can say it happened because it happened. Whether it was a cracking success or not, nobody really gives a crap. I was on my piece of junk 79 Honda motorcycle. It wasn't like I had big tour sponsorship. I didn't have great cameras on me. It was just me driving up to people waiting in line to take the ferry over to Washington Island and saying, is this the boat that goes to Canada where all you old people get your cheap medicine? And they all looked at me like I was a cop or something. Like maybe I was there to bust them. So that's, when you do stuff like that, it's something to do. It's something to say, this is what I'm doing. This is something I'm putting out there. And I think they did the same thing. Wasn't there also some talk of a Guinness Book of World Records kind of a thing? Nobody's ever done all 50 states in 50 days. And so if they get that recognition, if somebody verifies it and says, yeah, that really happened, you get to say that forever. You get to say, hey, I was one of the 4 comics on the 50-50 tour, 50 Cities, 50 Days tour. That's a cool thing. So I think that's why you do something like that. I'm not sure. So anyway, Andrew Ouellette or Ouellette.
Toilet?
No. Is going to be on that show with us, or we're going to be on that show with him, I guess is technically the correct way to say it. And so he's headlining. It's going to be a great time. Those fine folks up in Fargo, Moorhead, and Grand Forks have no idea what a great time they're going to have. So it's going to be an awesome night.
Cool.
So that's about that's 28 solid minutes of what's going on in the world. That doesn't happen very often that we take that long. But what we haven't specifically talked about, since we've gone down to the hour-long format much recently, is mkefunny.com. So I definitely wanted to make sure that we got some time in on mkefunny.com because it was just kind of funny. I went back and reread a whole bunch of Extemporadio stuff, and I think it even says Jason Evans joins us the first and third Mondays to discuss mkefunnies.com's calendar and all the events going on in comedy in Wisconsin. And we've kind of brushed over that, and as we spend more time out on the road and doing gigs and events events going on. We become less and less concerned and aware of what's going on back here in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on for you.
Ton going on. I just finished the calendar last week for December, and it's pretty packed, man. We got the open mics this week like we usually do. There's actually a new mixed open mic opening up at the Roman Coin open mic. It's a mixed open mic. It's on 1004 East Brady Street. And like I said, that's a new mixed open mic on Thursdays at 8 o'clock.
So that's like music and comedy.
Yeah, music, comedy. And this is their first one this Thursday.
That's
So
at the Roman Coin.
The Roman Coin, yep. It's on 1004 East Brady Street. And that, like I said, brand new. It's starting up at 8 o'clock. I've never been there myself, but I might go over there just to check it out and see. And then, of course, we got the mixed open mic on Tuesdays at the Miramar. You got the...
That's an amazing open mic.
yeah,
That's
it's
absolutely
great.
fun.
Now, is this week the celebration for the anniversary, or is it next week?
That will be December 11th.
Okay,
that is
December
next
11th.
week.
Gotcha.
Please come on out to the Tuesday open mic at the Miramar Theater. Sandy Weistow is hosting that, of course, is the provocateur producer of that fabulous open mic. And I'm not going to say come for the pizza because that's a bad reason to come. You should come for the amazingly high level of talent that performs there every week. Guys like Matthew Davies and Shozo from the Masters Guitar Program, all the way to Merch Mitch, and from the Anna London Show, our good friend Sam the Man Harvey. He comes out there, and you get an amazingly high level of talent performing there every week. So if nothing else, if you got $2 and burning a hole in your pocket, come on down to the Tuesday open mic at Miramar Theater, 2544 North Oakland Avenue, and you'll have nothing but a great time. So it's a good time.
And then we got the open mic Under the Stairs at Karma on Wednesdays.
That's Wednesdays.
And I believe the last Wednesday of every month is not this month. It's the second to last Wednesday at Comedy Cafe, and this month is their comedy competition at the Comedy Cafe. I guess they're picking 11 comics that are going to compete. Something
great.
to that. Something to that. I just heard of that this week. I gotta look into it more.
Good for them. Anything that the local club does to encourage local comedians is always a good thing. That's a great thing. So happy for them.
And like I said, that's usually the last Wednesday, but this time it's the second to last Wednesday of the month. So and then we also got shows on Thursday. We got the Sugar Maple comedy show. So show starts at 9 o'clock. $5 to get in. You can check MKE Funny for the lineup.
Is there a band playing?
Yes,
with that
there is
again?
also a band. I have it up on the site. What band?
Does anybody
it is.
care that there's a band playing at a comedy show?
Might be.
No. Ryan Holman puts on some crazy, interesting shows by dragging in bands to play at his shows, and I'm never quite sure where I'm at on that. But if it means more people come and see comedy, that's really all that matters.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. So do appreciate his efforts and wish him all the best with that show. Between that and Cactus Club, they got a lot of stuff going on in Ryan Holman's camp.
And then on the same day, Thursday, Midwest Comedy Night at the Onyx Nightclub. That's going to be with Mark Gregory, hosted by T-Dot. And like I said, that starts at 9:30. $15 to get in the door, and that's the Onyx Nightclub.
That's an
Very nice.
urban comedy show?
Yes.
That's an urban comedy show.
All right.
A comedy show where you would excel and be on time.
Oh, boy.
No, it's a great story. It's the
Batman
it's,
Comedy Tour story.
Yeah, it's
a true
You know,
story.
and I'm going to give
love
my
that.
version of it because I've heard Nate Ford's version about 1 million times now. He's doing it as part of his act. But I'm on my way to the Wednesday night open mic at Comedy on State, and that's always literally a crapshoot of whether you're going to get on the list or not. So, and I'm feeling pretty good that. I'm coming all the way from Milwaukee. I'm one person in the car. I specifically waited until like 3 other people were not available on a particular Wednesday night, so I didn't have to turn anybody down and say, no, you can't come with me because I want to get up. And so I'm driving west on 94, and I'm just before SS, where you'd get off that third exit where you'd be on the northwest side of Waukesha. After that, you're on the highway all the way out to 83 next to Delafield. You're on the highway for another 20 minutes before you can get off the highway, or 10 minutes up and 10 minutes back. So I get this phone call. I'm sitting as the traffic is starting to slow down and packing into traffic. I'm creeping up closer and closer to the last time I can cut across and get up the exit, and I get this call from Nate Ford, and he says, what are you doing right now? I'm like, well, I'm kind of stuck in traffic. It's a great time to talk. I'm just kind of sitting here on 94 heading to Madison.
Yeah.
What's the chance that you could come pick me up in Germantown? Well, actually, I'm leaving really early, so there's kind of a good chance. Well, I'm actually on my way to a comedy show, and well, I'm actually in jail right now. Is there any chance that you could come bail me out of jail and get me to a comedy show on time? And it's like, okay, this is a mission. We can't bother. We can't turn this down. Screw this. We're going right there.
So he shows up, and the police officer's rushing me out. And as he rushes me out, there's Brent O'Day with the camera.
Yeah, we got pictures.
Good.
Yeah, we got pictures of Nate Ford being led out of the lockup at the Germantown Police Department. But he'd gotten, for whatever reason, got picked up because of some tickets that didn't get paid. He wasn't a probation violation. He wasn't a restraining order violator. He was just a guy who had an overdue parking or a speeding ticket that didn't get paid from 4 years earlier or 3 years earlier. So the show is set for 9 o'clock at this club out north of Fond du Lac, and it's just this. It's a bar literally in a swamp. It's kind of a middle of nowhere kind of a thing, and so after. Just racing back in from Waukesha and racing north up to 45, going up 41, 45 to Germantown, and standing there and debating and making sure all the paperwork's ready and paying the bail money and getting in the car and going back down to the towing yard to get your bag. And we had to tell the towing guy jokes to get him to because they're not supposed to let anybody in the yard.
Yeah.
So we had, in order to get Nate's stuff out of the car, he's like, look, everything I own is in the back seat of that car. You can keep the car. I just need the stuff.
Yeah.
So he ends up letting us into the yard. He's kind of like, well, if I go out there to move something around and that gate happens to be open and you can get out of the yard before that gate happens to close, you can get whatever you want out of that car. So we get into the car, get the stuff out, throw that in my car, race off for Fond du Lac and get there at about 8:40 in the evening for the 9 o'clock show. Mm-hmm. And the only person there is Kamain Holland, who's the guy. It's Kamain's brother?
His brother.
It was Kamain Holland's brother. It was Otis
Who was
Holland.
setting up the door. And
Otis Holland runs a judo academy. He is not a comedian, but he's a businessman, and he knows that he should be there. So he's the only one there setting up the door. And the best part was, at 8 o'clock, there was supposed to be a DJ there playing. Well, so at about 9:50 that night, hour after showtime start time, Frank White shows up. Frank White shows up. He's awesome. He's all ready to go. He's back in the green room eating sandwiches, and he's hanging out. Then at about 10 after 10, Kamain Holland shows up, and about 10 minutes after that, Craig C. shows up, and about 10 minutes after that, somebody else showed up. Yeah. And then we're pushing on 10:45, and the DJs finally show up. Yes. The guys that were supposed to be playing at 8 o'clock, 10:45, make it to the room. So they start the music at just before 11 o'clock.
Well, the thing is, also they forgot to bring some wires.
Oh, they forgot all their speaker cables.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
So they've got their turntables. They've got a couple of speakers. They've got the microphones. The only thing they had was a mic cable. So now they're frantically calling, trying to amplify the sound here. But there was 12 people there anyway. So
well, I think what happened was there was people at the bar.
Yeah, waiting to come in.
There was a separate room that we were in, banquet room type of thing, and then the bar. And so they were just waiting. I think some of them left.
A lot of them left, actually.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people that, as we would go back and forth out of the room and into the bar, we kept trying to keep people's interest in the show. They were like, well, that's really great. It is a Wednesday night. I would like to have been home by 11 o'clock, and so I'm not really going to be able to hang around for the show. I'm just finishing up my beer, and I'm going. I'm just like, it's 4 more people that are leaving. So, yeah, there were 12 at the show. There were probably 40 that were going to be at the show if it would have started at 9 o'clock. Yeah. So that's what happens. That's why you should always start a show on time. You never know, which was the problem with – it wasn't the problem, but it's what happened Sunday night to us. They actually said start the show early. Like, but you've had it on your sign for a day and a half now saying comedy show at 5 o'clock. If we started at 4:30, we're going to end, it'll be early. It's going to start early and end early. People are going to be ticked. And they're like, nobody's coming. This is who's going to be here. And they were right. There were a couple of stragglers that popped in and then left and came in and left. So,
love it.
So yeah, it was like, okay, cool. Awesome.
Absolutely no respect for comedy at all.
Well,
None.
I'm sure if we would have started when the game ended,
It would have been great.
we would have been. They
Not
all
great,
wanted to
but
talk.
better than.
We would have been shouting over people. But I think what ended up happening in that hour and a half window is the alcohol just started settling in on these people, and they basically lost self-control. They just wanted to talk about themselves.
Anything besides comedy.
Yeah. Especially things like, Idaho. That was a big topic that they wanted to talk about.
So what kind of potatoes? Do you make vodka out of the potatoes?
Yeah,
Where do they come from? Did you plant them? Did you use soil? What'd you use?
So awesome. So awesome. We could have done the entire Idaho farm report, and they would have been just in heaven. It just ridiculous.
We're
So
actually a gem state, not really a potato state. We're known for our potatoes, but we're actually the gem state.
wow. You know when the last time they dug a gem out of that state?
Me?
Yeah, nice.
And on that note, all right. So what else is going on at MKE Funny?
At
Sorry for
the
that digression.
comedy cafe, Chad Daniels.
Wow, that's
Oh yeah,
he's great.
he was
Fritz?
at Comedy Quarter last week
okay.
and just blew it out. Last week
Skyline.
he was at Skyline. Yeah, he was at Skyline. So
Or
he's
no,
at
was
Cafe this week.
Yeah, and then Fritz, and then our friend Daryl Hill, who's been on the show before.
Daryl Hill is going to be hosting there.
Awesome.
I assume so.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's awesome. He's
That is
on a
weird.
couple times this week.
That
this
is
weekend.
weird.
Or this month, I'm sorry.
That is weird.
Yeah, that's great.
Wow.
And then Joker's Sean Banks is at Joker's all weekend.
Okay.
And then Bonkers Comedy Club on Saturday, our friend Dobie Maxwell is there.
Oh, crazy. That's
along
great.
with Steve Purcell.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on.
That's crazy. Do you know if your friend Lee Lycan is hosting that night?
No, they don't have a host anymore.
They don't have a host anymore.
Nope.
Wow.
No more host.
Wow.
I don't know. Maybe it's too much money for a casino.
Yeah. Right.
It's a lot of money. $50
They're tired of MCs.
$50 in a dinner.
and a meal. And then some of the national acts rolling into town this month. John Witherspoon's going to be at Joker's December 14th and 15th.
Nice.
Jim Gaffigan at the Paps the 29th, 30th, and 31st.
It's going to be exceptional.
And Kevin Hart is going to be at the Milwaukee Theater December 15th at 7 o'clock. Tickets are $47, $67, or $125.
So they let him out of jail then?
Kevin Hart?
Yeah.
He's in jail?
He got imprisoned. He got arrested in Seattle this week.
That wasn't Cat Williams? This is a different...
Was it Cat Williams?
Yeah, I
was
think
it
it was
really Cat Williams?
Yeah.
Oh, awkward.
Yeah.
Not at all. I'm sure Kevin Williams has been arrested and wrongfully accused of being arrested many times.
Kevin Hart, you mean?
What did I say? Did I say Cat Williams?
You said, yeah.
I say Kevin Williams?
Yes, you did. Yeah.
They all look the same. It's
Oh, God,
Here we
come
go.
on.
comics. I'm talking about comics.
Oh,
He
oh,
was,
yeah.
there you go. He was arrested for an alleged bar rampage in Tacoma, Washington, was it, or Seattle, Washington? I don't know. We're waiting for the Chicago Tribune. This is great. It's in the arts and entertainment section of the Chicago Tribune.
Oh,
of
no,
course.
I don't know if this is true or not, but Nola said something on Facebook that his manager is that guy that managed all the rap stars, the big guy. I
Biggie
forgot
Smalls?
his No, the guy that
He's dead,
He was like
isn't
a gangster. He was in prison a couple times. Sean.
Well, Cat Williams
Suge
didn't
Knight?
have much to laugh
Suge
about.
Knight.
Suge Knight,
yeah,
really?
Yeah. I don't know if that's true or not, but Nola said that on Facebook. I was like, really? And she's like, surprise, surprise.
Well, Cat Williams was arrested following an incident at a bar during which Williams allegedly attacked a woman with a cigarette, according to Seattle police. According to police, Williams-born Micah Williams exchanged words in quotations with other customers at the World Sports Grill in the city's South Lake Union area Sunday afternoon and brandished a pool cue at the bar's manager. At one point, police say Williams, who was in town to perform at the Paramount Theater, followed a family outside of the bar and flicked a lit cigarette into their car, striking a woman just below her eye. He also threw a rock at the car, according to police. Police showed up at the establishment just before 2:30 in the afternoon, and after a struggle to get Williams into a patrol car, transported him to the West Precinct. Williams was booked into the King County Jail for investigation of assault, harassment, and obstruction, according to police. Williams' representative has yet to respond. So,
Were they a Mexican family?
whoa, yeah,
I'm
there you
surprised
go.
he can wheel around a pool cue like that. The guy's like 3 feet tall.
Well, it's kind of like Yoda and a lightsaber.
Oh, I got you.
So he does like flips and things
Yeah,
off of things.
because he's
Wow.
tiny.
Cat Williams, you're amazing. Don't let the man keep you down. That's
The
all I
man.
got
Who's
to
the
say.
man?
But in case in point, go see Kevin Hart.
There you go.
Right. Yeah. Right.
There you
Yeah,
go.
there you go. All right. Well, guys. What's the last words on MKE Funny these days?
I got a couple things on the main page. Some ongoing shows this month. They got. It's like some of the shows are going on half the month. I forgot the names of them though, so you'd have to go to the main page and check them out.
Go check those out on
Ones with
mkefunny.com.
puppets, like, and then a reindeer show or something.
Oh,
I
yeah.
guess they're pretty funny. I've never seen them before, but I threw them up there.
Okay. Our good friend Patrick Schmitz has a Christmas pageanty type show going on this month. Go check
Okay.
that out.
Yeah.
David Abu, a good friend of ours in the formerly of the comedy scene, now the acting universe, is going to be. He's a police officer. That guy, he's been typecast as a police officer. He's going to be a police officer forever, and probably will enroll in the academy sometime before the end of next
That's
year.
scary.
But he will be performing in the Patrick Schmitz improvised play. Apparently, they're given a lot of latitude with the script and with the production of it. So the first performances of that was this weekend. Next weekend, they've got another round, and you should go check that out. So go to Facebook, go to mkefunny.com, get all the details of the comedy taking place all over Wisconsin, really.
Yeah.
And soon to be coming, MKE Funny and MPL Funny and CHI Funny and
Yeah.
DET Funny. And anywhere else that there's a big city, Jason
BOI
Evans is
funny.
soon going to have MKE Funny like sites for the entire country.
I also
I predict soon.
I hope so. But we were also mentioned in an article that Christina Wright wrote for Third Coast Digest.
Yeah, I saw
last
that
week.
finally.
Yeah, so that
appeared.
was nice that she put us in there. I didn't get a chance to answer the questions that she sent me, and she still put our logo in there and our link to the website, which I was really happy about. That was really nice of her to do
Glad
that.
you enjoyed that.
So that
It
was
was a
good.
very brief article that I don't know. Are you supposed to say things?
I love seeing my
Your logo looked great.
Yes, it does.
It looked
I'm
awesome.
mixed with that article too. So
It's awesome. That's great. All right. There's a lot of comedy going on in Milwaukee.
Tons.
There's a lot of comedy that you can participate. There's a lot of comedy that you can enjoy here in the
or
greater-
even go out and try yourself.
And by the way, I just wanted to thank you for that website, the MKE Funny.
Oh, thanks.
Because there's a what's chucklemonkey.com shows like all the open mic nights around the country, but it's not updated as often as you'd like.
It relies completely on the people that run those open mics to update them. So that's
you
why those things
updated-
tend not to get updated.
Yeah.
Jason Evans is so Johnny on the spot on top of his website and all the stuff that goes on that it's really quite amazing what he cranks out and gets set up. So just so you know, that is the most up to date. There's just nobody that really takes as much time and really puts stuff together. He's sitting right here in front of me. I'm making him very uncomfortable.
No, thank you.
But MKE Funny is just hands down the best, the most updated. I mean, I've seen sites all across the country, and there's just no site that's as well maintained and updated as
I do my best.
MKEfunny.com.
And if there's not something on there, please let me know. I'll throw it up.
Definitely get in touch with Mr. Evans. You can reach him at is it info@mkefunny.com?
It's mkefunny at hotmail.com. It's right on the bottom of the website, or
you
you can
go.
give me a call.
mkefunny.com. Check it out. You can reach me at www.brendanoday.com. That'll take you to my fabulous WordPress site that is domain forwarded to my web URL. And you can check out comings and goings on there. You can check out my opinions on various comedy issues. And so check that out. I'm also available on Facebook at facebook.com/BrenDamaged. You can find me there. And where do we find you, Nate Ford?
Everywhere. everywhere. Facebook.com/comic Nate Ford.
There you go.
Awesome.
Go check that out. And Jason Evans also can be found on Facebook at either MKE Funny or at Jason Evans, Facebook.com/Jason Evans. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's our show this week. I thank you so much for tuning in. Be good. We love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.